Hey, games industry, come close. I just want to talk. I just want to talk here, just a little closer. Come on, it's okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, for real though, we got to talk about what's going on with the games industry. In the history of gaming, I've never seen a massacre like this, where the layoffs are so consistently substantial that I don't know how this is sustainable. It just feels like there's this big implosion going on, and it is rocking the industry as a whole, and the whole world is taking notice. So just this year alone, recall that after Embracer bought out a bunch of studios and promised that they'd bring back a bunch of major IPs like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, you name it, they went ahead and engaged in layoffs and studio shutdowns and just butchered major IPs by completely mishandling them. So many projects shut down, so many studio closures across the board, and after cutting almost 1,400 jobs, they straight up had the audacity to say that they're looking out for shareholders, which is just completely and utterly disgusting, with more job cuts potentially along the way, they foreshadowed. And I mean, we're talking about so many canceled, unannounced games between July and December as of February 15th, 2024, with more internal studios closed. It is just getting completely out of hand. And of course, executives show no empathy towards a situation like this, saying things like, stuff like this is something that everyone needs to get through, instead of making it about how leadership needs to get a freaking grip, get a handle on things, and maybe fire themselves if they're not up to the task of being responsible and making good business decisions. That doesn't pave the road to this kind of mass layoff situation. And now let's talk about Sony Interactive Entertainment. Its CEO Jim Ryan recently announced that he's making cuts to the workforce, about 8% or about 900 people. This is a memo that was sent out to employees. He said, the leadership team and I made the incredibly difficult decision to restructure operations, which regrettably includes a reduction in our workforce, impacting very talented individuals who have contributed to our success. After careful consideration and many leadership discussions over several months, it has become clear that changes need to be made to continue to grow the business and develop the company. We had to step back, look at our business holistically, and move forward, focusing on the long-term sustainability of the company and delivering the best experiences possible for our community. Whoa, don't throw the community in there, all right? This is strictly a business decision. The goal is to streamline our resources to ensure our continued success and ability to deliver experiences gamers and creators have come to expect from us. No. This is not about the gamers and the creators and doing it for us. This is about doing it for the corporation. It is about finances, and it's about the shareholders. That's all this ultimately is. Don't you dare put this on us. What this means, the statement continues, we envision reducing our headcount by about 900 people, or about 8% of our current workforce. There will be impact for employees across all SIE regions, Americas, EMEA, Japan, and APAC. Several PlayStation studios are affected. Certain studios like PlayStation Studios London studio will close entirely, and there'll be reductions in certain studios like Firespit Studio, and reductions in various functions across SIE in the UK. And there are more specifics that have been reported by investigative journalists like Jason Schreier, who pointed out that layoffs have even hit Insomniac, the developers of Spider-Man, Naughty Dog, the developers of Last of Us, and Guerrilla, the developers of Horizon, who are three of PlayStation's most successful subsidiaries. That's the crazy part. Even when development studios are thriving and succeeding and outputting critically acclaimed games that go on to sell really well, even then, there's a risk that it'll be for naught, because you might get laid off anyway, despite the fact that you did a stellar job creating your games. None of these studios experienced like a financial flop or anything that necessitated layoffs or whatever. We're talking about thriving studios that still are at risk of seeing employees getting laid off and being served as scapegoats for poor executive corporate decisions. Along the way, Sony Interactive Entertainment also canceled a number of projects, namely, as reported by Jason Schreier, a Twisted Metal live service game that was in development at UK-based studio Firesprite. Jason Schreier also reports in his Bloomberg article that he's heard that for Guerrilla Games specifically, about 10% of its staff is being cut, so that's roughly 40 employees. Now, Guerrilla's head, Herman Hulst, was at one point promoted it's ahead of PlayStation, and he had this to say about the cancellation of several games in development. He said, "Sometimes great ideas don't become great games. Sometimes a project is started with the best intentions before shifts within the market or industry result in a change of plan." Which on some level is true, but this whole notion that certain projects were started with the best of intentions, like Sony's whole plan of just going all in with live services, which is why they bought Bungie and kickstarted this movement to create a bunch of live services that they've now had to scale back on because they realize that the live service market is just so oversaturated and are realizing that live services are failing left and right as they launched recently Skull and Bones and a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Like, I feel like the writing was on the wall for that one a while ago. It felt like a dumb idea when Sony announced it. A lot of people predicted that this kind of could very well happen, where it just felt like there were too many live services in development by one publisher. I feel like the intention wasn't to deliver the best experiences or whatever. It was to output money-milking machines, and the end result was they had to scale back because now they're realizing it's a dumb idea, and a lot of people realized it was a dumb idea way before Sony realized it. There was a lot of stupidity that kind of went behind why we're now in this situation where Sony's had to make significant shifts in what was supposed to be putting so many eggs in the live service basket, and now they're starting to slowly put some of those eggs out. And part of that involves the cancellation of projects like this live service Twisted Metal game, which, I don't know, I'm not all for this idea of a live service version of this racing franchise. The folks at Insomniac were none too pleased about this whole situation and kind of spoke out. This statement right here doesn't feel like a corporate statement. It felt like somebody genuinely put their heart into us and, are genuinely pained by the situation. We're not expecting it. Here's what Insomniac's statement reads like in response to the layoffs. Like several other teams across Sony Interactive Entertainment and PlayStation Studios, Insomniac Games was impacted by yesterday's layoffs. There are no sufficient words to express our feelings about it. This is a solemn and unprecedented moment for our studio, which suggests that this surprised Insomniac and this was not up to them. This was up to the corporate heads at Sony. We're focusing our energy on helping everyone affected through this challenging time. For those who are hiring, these are great people. They're great people seeking new roles who made important contributions to Insomniac's history. We're extremely grateful for them, and they will be missed. So this obviously all just really sucks. And let me highlight just how successful Spider-Man 2 was. It was the fastest selling PlayStation Studios game. The game sold over 2.5 million copies in the first 24 hours following its release. And then beyond that, its total sales now, as of February 14th, 2024, has gone beyond 10 million copies. This game's made a boatload of money. And yet, despite all that, that was not enough to stave off layoffs at this prolific studio. Was a whopping $300 million. So in terms of like profit margins, like, that is a lot of money to spend on a game that requires a lot of revenue to make its money back. We found out about Marvel Spider-Man 2's budget through the unfortunate Insomniac data breach, hack, and leak that occurred not that long ago. And another bit of information that we learned from that was that the return on investment for Spider-Man 2, despite how well it sold, was significantly lower than that of, say, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So Spider-Man 2 cost an incredible $315 million to develop with an expected return on investment of 35%. Its predecessor, the lighter on its feet Spider-Man Miles Morales, had a reported return on investment of 122%. It just took a lot more manpower and resources and money to make Spider-Man 2. And so despite its great sales, the return on investment was just a tougher ask for this particular project because AAA game budgets are just getting so out of hand. But beyond the fact that AAA games are just getting bloated in their cost and budget, there's also the fact that they're taking longer and longer to make. And with every passing year that a game is in development, that's more money spent. It's more time spent with the game not making a return on investment. As Polygon aptly put it here, it's now taking roughly 5 years at minimum to make these large-scale AAA games, but increasingly much longer as well, like how Rocksteady Studios saw a 9-year gap between the release of Batman Arkham Knight and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. The producer of Final Fantasy VII Remake recently estimated that it'd take 20 years to remake Final Fantasy VI to a similar standard. Naughty Dog has not released an original game for PlayStation 5. It's been years since an original project from them came out since Last of Us Part 2. And this is a situation that feels like it's just getting dangerously untenable. Speaking of dangerous, there are always prying digital eyes or hackers who have ill intent, which is why you might want to protect yourself with a VPN, which is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Private Internet Access, a VPN dedicated to internet privacy, protection, and flexibility. It's a well-known fact that internet service providers and associated entities keep track of your internet activity and online private information, which is why virtual private networks or VPNs like Private Internet Access exist. It protects you by masking your IP address, encrypting your private information, and routing your online activity through a private server, thereby shielding you from hackers. And what makes Private Internet Access stand out is its level of transparency with zero user data ever recorded or stored. And this is something that's been proven in court and by third-party audits. Also convenient are all of the entertainment benefits with features like compatibility with all major streaming services that grants you access to region-restricted content, services, and websites across the world. It does so by basically allowing you to change your IP address to that of one of 91 countries as well as all 50 US states so that it looks like you're surfing the web from them. Furthermore, this is one of few VPNs that has support for P2P file sharing. The cherry on top is that Private Internet Access is available on all platforms, so Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, iOS, you name it. And you can use one subscription to protect an unlimited number of devices, providing amazing bang for buck. There's a reason why this VPN has already been downloaded over 30 million times, and you can download Private Internet Access yourself with huge savings by using my link, piavpn.com/yongya, to get a whopping 83% discount on your subscription, plus an additional 4 free extra months. That's just $2.03 per month, plus 4 free months with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Yeah, pretty good offer and safety net, if you ask me. Now, it's not just Sony Interactive Entertainment that's seen mass layoffs. Not long after, EA announced that they'd be laying off a bunch of people. Here's a post on EA's official website published on February 28th, 2024. The headline reads, "Continuing to evolve our business and teams." That's how they kickstart the announcement that they're going to upend a bunch of people's livelihoods. So the important quotes here read, "We are continuing to optimize our global real estate footprint to best support our business. We're also sunsetting games and moving away from development of future licensed IP. And as a result of all of this, we also expect that these decisions will impact approximately 5% of our workforce. Communicating these impacts has already begun and will be largely completed by early next quarter." There's no semblance of leadership showing empathy or saying that we fucked up on our end. It's them saying this is all about, greasing the wheels for the company. This is a good thing for us, rather than trying to highlight just how awful this situation is and how leadership failed their employees whose livelihoods are in their hands. Now, they don't share exactly how many people are getting laid off when we're talking about 5% of EA's workforce, but GamesIndustry.biz here did the math. The publisher gave its headcount as 13,400 employees as of the end of March of 2023. Take 5% of that, and we're looking at roughly 670 people who are getting laid off. And as part of all this, certain projects are getting canceled, particularly where expensive licensed IP are involved, though a spokesperson, a representative, did confirm that Black Panther and Iron Man remain in development. Those are two separate games of two separate Marvel properties that EA is helming currently. But there has been a casualty in the form of a Star Wars first-person shooter that you may recall Respawn announced back in 2022. So according to this EA post from Laura Meal, published on February 28th, 2024, when scrolling down to the Respawn section who are helming this game, it reads right here that as we have looked at Respawn's portfolio, players are most excited about Jedi and Respawn's rich library of owned brands. Knowing this, we have decided to pivot away from early development on a Star Wars first-person action game to focus our efforts on new projects based on our owned brands while providing support for existing games. This feels like such a stupid idea. A Respawn Star Wars first-person shooter game sounds like a match made in heaven, especially because it is rumored that this game was going to feature a Mandalorian protagonist, which just sounds like such an awesome idea, especially when Respawn is involved in a project like this. Respawn being specialists of first-person shooters, but also the way you move in those shooters, whether it's through wall running or through mechs. Like, they could have done such cool things with it. I feel like there's such wasted potential to scrap a project like this. So yeah, with now Sony and EA joining the fray when it comes to mass corporate layoffs, where are we at in terms of total number of layoffs in 2024? Well, check this out. Here's a website that tracks video game layoffs, and we're already sitting at a whopping 7,800, roughly, employees, staff, you name it, who have been laid off by the games industry. And we're already almost there for the grand total of layoffs in 2023, which was 10,500. Ladies and gentlemen, we're only a sixth through 2024, and the total number of layoffs is very close to all of the layoffs we've seen in the entire year of 2023. This is going to be a massacre. And how the number is likely more than 7,800 because there are certain layoffs where the exact number is unknown, as represented here by a question mark. And it's not just EA and PlayStation Studios. I mean, there are a bunch of smaller bits of layoffs that have happened for, Zaum and Frog Song Studio, Spearhead Games. Those are all pretty recent. And you can see this long list just continues to grow. And we're only in the beginning of March. Developers are heartbroken. People are pissed that this is the state of the games industry right now. Jason Schreier here reports somebody at Naughty Dog who got laid off after working at the company for 18 years. Santiago Gutierrez said, "The sadness in the last 2 days of my layoff is not just about losing a job. It is more about losing a sense of purpose, a community, a team I love with the bottom of my heart." I mean, you spend that long at a studio, they're practically family to you. You know what I mean? Ashley Birch, who is an actor and writer, spoke out saying that to the game devs and their colleagues that are weathering layoff after layoff, I hope after you mourn that you get mad, because I'm enraged for you and for all of us. I hope the anger at the exploitation of your art and labor fuels a will to fight. As much as they wish they could, they cannot make games without you, and I hope you know that all of us, performers, fans, are with you. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, they should absolutely be pissed. Like, this is on a scale as far as layoffs go that it's so completely and utterly irresponsible. If this continues, this industry cannot sustain itself if talent don't feel confident that they're going to be able to make a stable livelihood off of using their talents to make amazing games. The suits might fund game development projects, but without the talent feeling safe and comfortable and happy, they're not going to do their best work. And, if they don't feel safe in the games industry, they're certainly not going to want to make video games. And without the talent, games don't get made. They're the ones down there on the ground floor actually making the thing, you know what I mean? John Romero here, who is a legend responsible for Doom, spoke out saying, "I've been in the games industry since I was a kid, and I've never seen anything like what we're seeing now. For many of us, being a game developer is not just a job, but an identity, community, and culture. I'm so sorry to everyone who's lost their jobs." This is a veteran saying that, look, I've been through everything, I've seen things, but what we're experiencing right now is unprecedented on a scale, on a level that we've never seen. The games industry needs to just take a long and hard look at itself, because this is a travesty. When we've become so irresponsible financially that we're seeing budgets for games that are so bloated that even games that sell 10 million copies can't guarantee the safety of its staff, the people who made that success possible, we have lost the plot. The business side of things is just all fucked up. Almost 10,000 layoffs in just 2 months is completely unacceptable. And if we want this industry to thrive, we cannot go on like this. Employees need to seek protection, and they need to get pissed, and they need to unionize. And, the executives in suits who are grossly miscalculating the financial prospects of the budgets that they're investing into some of these projects that cannot be sustained in the way they are financed and developed. Like, they have to be, either they have to make some reparations and take responsibility, or they need to get the fuck off and let someone who can do right by the developers take over. This is just not it, Chief. This is what the fuck? Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the state of the games industry right now, and what you think needs to happen for stuff like this to get fixed, because again, this is not sustainable. Your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.